tell me everything. Every thought, every feeling.
My creations do not walk amongst the living, killing mortals for pleasure.
Oh, you don't think dreams can die? Let's find out.
Oh, we'll find out right now! Hey, Bryce, before I say welcome to Cordkillers, the show that's all about watching what you love when you want on whatever device you please, tell us a little bit about that trailer.
That was a trailer for the Netflix adaptation of The Sandman, which just came out last week, I believe. I watched the first episode of it last week. I really liked it.
It is crushing. Number one, like worldwide on Netflix.
It's good. It seems good. You like The Sandman, right? You're skeptical of watching the show?
No. I am skeptical of adaptations of other things. Just full stop in general.
That first episode did not have any moments where I was like, "Oh, I'm missing a reference." I think it's pretty well done. Well,
meanwhile, look, welcome to Cordkillers, the show about watching the stuff you love when you want, where you want, wherever you want, on whatever dang device you please.
That's right.
My name is Brian Brushwood, and normally my co-host is Tom Merritt. Weirdest thing happened, Bryce.
What happened?
Swear to goodness.
Where's Tom?
All of a sudden, David Tennant shows up.
Wow.
He says, like here, he shows up here.
The English David Tennant.
British.
Yeah. Not the Canadian one.
It was definitely maybe it was a Christopher Eccleston. I can't tell for sure, but there was definitely.
Was it a Doctor Who?
Yeah, see, okay. Bring in our guest, Andrew Mayne. Thank you for joining us. The weirdest thing happened.
Can't tell the face. It sounds like a Doctor Who.
A TARDIS showed up and said, I need to borrow Tom Merritt for 1 week.
Wow.
Don't worry. He's already got everything laid out for you guys.
Okay.
You're going to do fine without Tom Merritt, even though he's the bedrock upon which this whole show has credibility. And then they vanished. So whatever they're up to.
Best of luck.
Now that I think about it, that's kind of weird that they wouldn't just come back to the exact moment they left because they could go anywhere. But
unless it's happening right now.
What?
Oh, no.
In the meantime, Bryce, I'm going to need you to play Tom Merritt, so I'm going to need you to introduce the primary target.
Well, here's how our primary target goes. Warner Brothers has decided not to release either Batgirl or Scoob 2 Holiday Haunt. Both movies were headed to HBO Max. Both were part of a plan by Jason Kilar to beef up the quality and quantity of HBO Max original content. Kilar left HBO Max after the Discovery merger with Warner was completed. Batgirl had Michael Keaton as Batman, J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon, Brendan Fraser as Firefly the villain, and Leslie Grace as the titular Batgirl. Scoop 2 has the voices of Mark Hamill, Ming-Na Wen, Patrick Warburton, and J.B. Smoove. It was not felt worthy that either of these movies would get a theatrical release and was too expensive to justify being released straight to HBO Max. It would have cost about $30 to $50 million more to properly market these films as theatrical releases. Now, Variety says that the most likely reason that these movies were shelved was taxes. Warner can now write down the entire cost of the films as a loss as long as they don't make any money off of it to get a tax benefit of that cost. To do that, it would have to be done by mid-August, so in a couple of weeks here. This is described as a, quote, purchase accounting maneuver, and to explain more would likely require one of the three of us to go get a degree in accounting. But tax reasons might explain why 6 HBO Max-only films were also taken off the service last Tuesday. Not a good look to be canceling completed films, guys.
Well, So, Andrew, you probably know more about the business side of this than I do. But let's say it's pretty good. It's medium good. I mean, it's Michael Keaton in it and so on. That is a big deal to say, we're not going to release it on our own streaming platform. We're not going to license it to another company for distribution. We're not going to make any money on it whatsoever because we can make more money by showing it as a disaster and a loss on our tax form. You know Hollywood better than I do. Does this happen often, and does it happen to good things?
I'm not aware of it happening to really good things. And I also think we're in a climate where people are very hungry for something to see theatrically. If you really look at some of the numbers, because we went through this down period of there not being a lot of content. And Maverick, which is a great movie, but Maverick is now 10th highest grossing film of all time, which probably deserves that.
I agree. I think that speaks more to the Globe's hunger for content than it does to the quality of Top Gun Maverick.
But if these movies were designed to be straight to HBO Max, I don't understand how they can turn around and say, oh, we spent the wrong amount of money on this movie. We spent too much to put it on streaming, and we will not spend enough to put it in theaters.
To market it, yeah.
Is it that bad? Is it...
Was Batgirl originally original Max? Because I remember they had this run of, well, we're just going to take our slate of theatrical and put them on H, of which some people protested and were angry about that. And my question was, this originally a theatrical film that got put on that slate, and then it got put into the like $90 million is a lot of money, but I think it's not a lot of money. Like, you have to think like, yeah, this will not make back the money plus 90 million. You got to think that this is not going to make that back. I want to think it's this wonderful gem of a movie hidden somewhere, but
then, yeah, Brian.
Let's generously think of it as it was probably pretty good. Not Top Gun Maverick good, but HBO Max pretty good.
Then they spent too much money on it.
Well,
didn't they?
Either that, or they decided to assign expenses in general, lowercase first letter.
Yeah. Hollywood money.
Exactly.
Hollywood math, sure.
Just assign a lot of expenses to this product and say, that's the one. Oh, we really wanted to do it. This is total gossip and hearsay, but I seem to remember Justin Robert Young telling me that in test audiences, people didn't recognize Michael Keaton, and that they needed to. In the Flash movie at the in like the end of it, because they were trying to set up kind of a Michael Keaton is putting together the Avengers thing, so they had to go back and replace it with Ben Affleck.
Okay.
So look, monetarily, I understand all of this, and I would not fault them for any of this. But in a world, as Andrew correctly put, that is so hungry for new content,
you couldn't find anywhere?
And Andrew, please postulate some theory where this makes sense.
I would say that if you look at Netflix's movie, do you get excited when you hear that Netflix spent $200 on a movie?
No.
And that's kind of my point. It's like Netflix, Netflix is a feature film. Like, oh, cool. You guys couldn't pass it off to Redbox. Redbox passed on it, and so that's where the Netflix brand has sort of gone, in my opinion, for some things. It deals with some great stuff, but for Netflix feature films and stuff, like they beat their drums and stuff, like movies like Bright, and like, yeah, you're gonna get all the Bright in the world, more Bright than you ever wanted, and nobody really wanted any Bright to work its way out, and that's been a case for a number of things.
Okay, so
HBO's got a great quality thing going.
Speaking of quality,
exactly.
There's a lot more to the story. So after shelving Batgirl and Scoob 2 and removing some of the originals from HBO Max earlier this week, folks have been wondering if the Discovery executives that run Warner Brothers Discovery really value HBO as a brand. Addressing those concerns, former Discovery CEO and now Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav said, "We're going to be spending dramatically more on HBO content in the next few years," and said that they had locked up the majority of HBO's executive team. Presumably he means by employment contracts, but Zaslav didn't provide any numbers to go with those comments. Just saying, quote, "Quality is what matters." So the one thing that Zaslav is trying to pull out of this entire wreckage of more consolidation is HBO is going to be the words HBO. I mean, you've talked a lot about the HBO brand, Brian. It seems like he knows that those are important letters.
Well, so Andrew, one of the multi-year sagas on this particular program has been me shouting from the mountaintops to anyone who would listen that HBO built an amazing brand specifically on not being garbage. That's why they had the slogan, "It's not TV, it's HBO." That's why they went to establish themselves with the Ace Cable Awards and then eventually Emmys and so on and so on. And when they announced that HBO was going to be like, what if you had a Cadillac, but also combined it with Twizzlers and all the garbage you have on the ground? Wouldn't that be a value? I was a bear on HBO Max. And then HBO Max ends up coming out with some of the best originals, some super impressive numbers, ends up having one of the best interfaces, and I have been eating crow, being wrong, and yet now it feels like, at least when it comes to the HBO part, I'm feeling increasingly right, but I need validation.
I was one of the people who was skeptical when HBO is going to do streaming. Oh, cool, because I can't find my cable remote. And then HBO Max, I'm like, what is this? And then they launched some great content, and then created some great shows, of which they've canceled, like Raised by Wolves, but some other good stuff on there. I think that I find the quality on there has been phenomenal. Shows like
Hacks.
Peacemaker,
Yeah,
and Peacemaker,
Peacemaker, that's a show that is sometimes end of the month I go like, who am I still subscribed to? Have I watched anything on this channel this month? And I'll cancel it. HBO Max hasn't happened. Other channels have happened.
So in this case, Bryce, walk us through, because we're starting to get some information on the numbers post-merger.
Yeah, so they a lot of this comes out of their quarterly earnings, and so some other items. It was announced in their first earnings since the merger of these two companies. Of particular interest was that the number of subscribers to HBO Max Warner combines these numbers, so they have one number that is a mixture of HBO Max and Discovery Plus and HBO on its own. Those three combined to make 92.1 million subscribers. That is up 1.7 million subscribers on the quarter. That all came from international subscribers, and domestic subscribers actually fell 300,000 to only 53 million subscribers. It's a lot of numbers, but the company forecasted growth, saying it expects to have more than 130 million global subscribers by 2025. Part of the reason that they combine these numbers is because, as you've heard talked about openly on this show and other places, Warner Brothers Discovery will be trying to combine those platforms into one streaming service. And they confirmed that at the earnings call here, saying it will roll out the combined version of the service in US and Latin America next year, 2023, and then Europe and Asia Pacific in 2024. They pitched it as each platform having a different strength. The CEO and president of Global Streaming and Games, JB Peretti, noted that HBO Max has performance and customer issues, but rich features, while Discovery Plus has limited feature sets, but a more robust tech stack. You haven't heard about people having problems with the interface for Discovery Plus. HBO Max also has strong scripted content and a male skewing audience, while Discovery Plus has strong unscripted content and a female skewing audience. So the idea is combining them will give you all of the content and all of the audience on a good tech platform. How do we feel? Is that possible?
Well, first of all, just to clarify, performance issues does not mean on how well the content is performing. It means quite literally the ability to stream and not have the stream break and so on.
Right.
In theory, getting gasoline, Twizzlers,
popcorn,
your tickets, a Omaha steak, and a mortgage all in one place would be very, very convenient.
It would be one productive night at the movies.
Well,
It would be one productive night.
I don't know. Maybe you also buy remote controlled cars and financial
I
advice.
think the word you're looking for is a bundle.
Well, I mean, but
Do you think
that sounds like you're saying the C word, cable?
Oh, I mean, no. This is totally. It's just a bundle of bundles to get to there. This is just a bundle, not.
Well, I mean, look at Peacock, right? Peacock has a form of this, right? You can buy a cheap Peacock with some stuff on it, expensive Peacock with all of the stuff on it, or more expensive Peacock with everything and almost no ads.
So
that is already really complicated. We want to throw in HBO and Discovery Plus as two tent poles when people walk in day
Only thing
one.
worth watching on Discovery for me was 3 years ago.
let me drop the facade.
Yeah.
There is a universe where we can pretend that Peacock is selling one product, a bunch of NBC stuff.
Right.
That's it. And you want it with ads, without ads, with mustard or not, whatever. Doesn't matter. There's no universe where Discovery and HBO, I'm not going to stunt because I feel like only Tom would put me in my place right now, but he's too busy fighting for Gallifrey right now. But I'm feeling very, very right now. I'm feeling
Feeling right about what?
What HBO Max, my beef to begin with was always that you take a premium, top quality Cadillac brand, you combine it with a bunch of garbage that's laying around, and then you call it Cadillacs plus Twizzlers or whatever, right?
Okay.
And now they're adding. There's Discovery has a lot. Sorry,
This does have a lot.
Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. I think so much of it is going to depend on things we don't know yet. Is the new thing going to be HBO Max? If they just say Discovery Plus is all in HBO Max, all of that branding we've been doing the past 2 years, it sticks around. HBO Max is the new thing. We are all under one umbrella. You don't have to do anything. I'm on board because then we're not. Who cares about the branding thing? This is just a new content add to HBO Max. I'm worried that they're going to say we need a third name now. Well, we burnt HBO, we burnt Max, we burnt Discovery Plus, so now we're going to be the Warner Depot,
which is what you should have called it from the very beginning.
Well, not if HBO is. I think if they keep HBO Max as the name. And just say Discovery stuff is in it. Discovery stuff is the Max now. And now there's HBO originals and there are Max originals, and then you have your two flavors.
Here's the bummer is Discovery has the numbers and HBO does not.
Yes.
So
okay.
I mean, by the numbers, Discovery Plus is the monster of content.
Is it?
I
mean, you mean content or subscribers?
Numbers of subscribers and people watching it, eyeballs, and so on.
Mm-hmm. Well, HBO also Warner has a problem in some of these articles. It was also brought up that Warner and HBO did not have the same international spread yet that your Comcast Universals do and your Paramounts do. You know, in this story. Almost all of its growth in the past quarter was international. Domestic subscribership went down. So, I think there is still a lot of growth, but I also think that there will be value in being a cable-like, in having something for everybody.
But I do, and I get pushback from this. I read the emails, cordkillers@gmail.com. There are some people who think I'm too obsessed with branding and name recognition and all that stuff, and that's fine. I would love to have more of that discussion. But you're right when it comes to what do you call this thing? This thing where you can get a mortgage, a Twizzler, and a Cadillac and gas.
You're still getting video this is not totally apples and oranges like this. You're getting video content.
But If I say the word Netflix, you know exactly what you're going to get. If I say the word Disney Plus, you know exactly what you're going to get. If I say the word Hulu, you know exactly what you're going to get.
Okay.
What do you call this thing, and what are you going to get?
You call it HBO Max, and now you're going to get HBO Max and all the other stuff.
But also all of Discovery?
Hell yeah, that's a benefit.
What-
That's a consumer benefit. All you have to say is HBO Max has even more Max now, and this is a non-story. This is only a story if they make it a branding issue.
How many HBO Max subscribers are there?
Well, if you bundle them all together, the letters H, B, and O, and you count internationally around the globe, cable and over-the-top streaming, and you get 90. So you're barely in the over-the-top streaming game.
Yeah, but Discovery is like 22. So I'm like trying to figure out like.
Well, so that's part of it, is that they're combining this number. They're not giving us broken out numbers.
They're not giving us real numbers.
The broken out numbers I've seen of just HBO still is, because it's HBO Max, still way bigger than Discovery.
Well,
So,
no. But are you counting? So that 90 million number is up against. Discovery is not extended cable. It's not premium cable. It's basic cable. So Discovery's numbers, I have to assume.
Are we talking about Discovery Plus or Discovery Cable? I'm getting very confused here.
We are speculating wildly, unfairly, without qualifications.
Okay.
Because they are presenting us numbers that are unfairly combined into a bundle that include cable and over-the-top networks and HBO Max. So we have to also compare them against combined numbers of Discovery, where you're suddenly looking at hundreds of millions.
Well, but Discovery Plus is in that 90 million number.
Wait, that included that too?
Yes, it does. That's why that we do know that all of that came from international, but no, that is HBO,
Okay.
HBO Max, and Discovery Plus is 90 million. So
I
the prior
retract
was
everything
Warner-
I've said.
Warner Media had reported a combined 76.8 million HBO and HBO Max subscribers, and Discovery Plus had 24 million. So what the breakdown is for HBO and HBO Max, I look at, and like there was like, I think they saw an overlap of like maybe 4 million people. I'm like, well, that tells you how excited people are about having both of those things. like I have no interest in like the Discovery content at this point. Like I'm not excited about that being in like, oh, we're gonna charge you now extra, because it sounds to me like a studio thing is, hey, we have a picture that cost 100 million and one that cost 20 million, but an accounting trick is we're gonna charge you 80 million for the 20 million pick, and
right.
we're just gonna, and that's my thing. It's like we're gonna double your content and make you subscribe to a thing you didn't like, which sounds like the C word.
So
before we get into this, because there's one other element on that came out of this earnings call. So Warner also
Bryce, I was just saying it's not complicated enough.
So Warner also said that once it's rolled out this combined platform, HBO Max and Discovery Plus, whatever it is, Warner may also launch a FAST service, FAST, free ad-supported streaming TV. HBO Max has an ad-supported version, and but it's not free. Or it will have an ad-supported version, and it has a paid ad-free version. This potential new service would not have all of the same programming as HBO Max or Discovery Plus, but there's also the mix of a free tier, which is why I think that the Peacock element is so major, because a lot of these fast services have a live element, and Peacock has got all of that. There's live and VOD and tiered content. And I just look at the way Peacock doesn't have the branding abstract, doesn't have the conceptual problem with the branding.
Correct.
It's Peacock. Everything's under the one, WWE's under it, NASCAR's under it. It's all just under Peacock. To say, to make a facsimile of that for Warner with HBO and Max and Discovery, that is confusing, but there is a template to do it by squishing all of the square pegs through the round holes.
Okay. We have to move on, but place your bets right now. HBO Max, does it survive as a brand, as a name, or does it die?
I think it sticks around. They've been pushing Max. I think Max sticks around. That's my bet.
Andrew?
I I hope it sticks around because HBO is quality and Max has been delightful. If we get into some plus this whatever, I'm going to be kind of frustrated and clicking that unsubscribe thing I do with other services that just I won't name one service, but man, they bought a lot of content, branded content. Man, has it been garbage to the point that I have no problem getting 2 episodes in. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to cancel you just so you know how unhappy.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think we lose the letters HBO. I can't imagine that Discovery is going to sit there and let the name that has all of their content be HBO. That sounds bonkers.
Well, because regardless, HBO can exist as a mark in whatever this thing is.
No.
As a bucket.
I'm not gonna. They're not going away. But the thing, the brand, the name,
gotcha.
that stuff. I think that's gonna change. But you know what will never change?
What will never change, Brian?
My love.
Oh, there we go. Power ballads.
I'm blushing right now. I'm blushing, everybody.
Wow.
For all of our bosses, who keep us loud, live, and independent over at patreon.com/Cordkillers. Look,
right.
man, you get your own RSS feed. You get super secret access to the only time we speak honestly and earnestly to our real bosses.
You're only honest.
The nearly 1,000. I still have 3-digit disease.
Yeah, we
right?
still have.
It's awful.
It's
awful.
really bad this week.
Really bad.
It's flaring up.
Oh my goodness.
I'll get you the lotion.
You want to get the RSS feed. You want to get early access to Spoilerin time. You want, most importantly, to hear our innermost thoughts, which you get when you subscribe and become a patron over at patreon.com/Cordkillers.
That's right. Thank you so much to everybody who subscribes there. Well, it's time to talk about how we watch things in How to Watch.
Clever title.
Yeah, I got to know that. So it's still quarterly earnings season. Paramount announced numbers for Paramount Plus at its earning call. It added 3.7 million subscribers last quarter to reach 43.3 million paid customers for Paramount Plus. That includes losing 1.2 million subscribers in Russia when it pulled out of the country. Overall, Paramount had 63.7 million subscribers across all of its streaming services, which was a gain of 1.7 million. If you do the math, that means that all of its other paid streaming services, it's Showtime, BET Plus, Noggin, lost 2.4 million subscribers. Still, with Peacock numbers being flat and Netflix numbers going down, HBO Max and Paramount Plus seem to be bucking a trend with a little bit of positivity. Revenue for Paramount Plus more than doubled in the quarter. Paramount's FAST service, Pluto TV, added 1.1 million viewers and rose revenue by 10%. But none of that necessarily means that streaming is profitable yet. Paramount plans to spend $6 billion on content through 2024 and reach break even sometime after 2023. That is a long time to be floating venture investment, and to be doing so when it seems like we're about to have a contraction in the market, certainly for recreational spending on streaming.
Andrew, have you subscribed to Paramount Plus?
You mean the fine network of such shows as Star Trek Strange New Worlds in 1883 and Lower Decks?
And Lower Decks. Yeah.
Yep.
I love those shows.
Tell me about 1883.
I love Strange New Worlds in 1883 and Lower Decks.
1883 is the Yellowstone spinoff, I believe, right?
Yeah, prequel. It's great. It's great. It's really Tyler. They should call it like Star Trek and Taylor Sheridan.
I will absolutely not deny that Paramount Plus has some incredible quality to it. Lower Decks is maybe like a second or third place favorite Star Trek thing ever. Mm-hmm. I will also admit that I personally watch on Tom's account because I can't be bothered to actually subscribe. Bryce, is there anything you would like to confess?
Well, I don't know about Tom's account, but I know Cordkillers has a business account. And
sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Oh, you're on that account too?
Yes,
oh, interesting.
I am. Also, they don't seem to mind that, like, many locations all over.
But this is this is something for everyone. They have a little something for everyone at Paramount. They have the CBS stuff, Comedy Central, Star Trek, the Smithsonian stuff. They've got BET stuff on there. There is a little bit of something for everyone. And I think it doesn't take very many shows for one person in a household to say, I would like to keep that on the budget. And if you have a wider gamut, I would imagine, Andrew, I don't know if you feel like this, how many shows do you need to say, I want to keep paying for this service? How many do you need at any one time?
If there's one show on at a time, or even I'll even go for a couple week gap, I'll do that. But some other network, like I just felt like, man, the worst fears that people said that they were going to do, and I'm like, no, they respect the brand because they know that I'll want to have it for a long time, and then I turned out that I was completely wrong.
And who even knows? Yeah.
All of which is to say, like, there are some real gems on Paramount, and I hope it succeeds. But apparently, for me, it has not succeeded so well because I don't begrudge other subscriptions I have, but I'm a little bit hesitant. I'll use the business account for this one.
Have you watched Strange New Worlds?
No, but I am a believer based on everything I've heard. Everybody is raving about it.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Except you right now.
That you would give him the hard sell. All right. Well, hey, those are some of the things how to watch. Some of the things that are how to watch. Well, let's find out what to watch in our Under Surveillance segment.
It's all about location.
Under Surveillance. One more piece of news related to Warner Brothers Discovery. A sequel to Joker is on the schedule for October 4th, 2024. Joaquin Phoenix will return alongside Lady Gaga. Director Todd Phillips previously posted on Instagram that the name would be Joker Folie à Deux, which literally translates to Madness for Two. It's rumored to have musical elements. Gaga is suspected to be playing Harley Quinn. How do we feel?
Wait, suspected? I thought it was fairly confirmed. Or are they being...
We don't know that she's playing Harley Quinn.
We don't
but
know.
she's in
Got
it.
it. Yeah. Look, I loved Joker too much.
You got Joker pilled.
It is. I've never had a comic book supervillain movie make me feel as respected as I did watching Joker. It was quite good. I expect great things if they are going in the same vein with this franchise.
Yeah.
And Andrew?
Yeah. Todd Phillips just knocked it out of the park with Joker. It just worked on so many levels. It was great. Lady Gaga, we've seen her like A Star Is Born. She did a great job. She was really good there. I think in the right role. I love Margot Robbie, but that voice, that Harley Quinn voice, just crawls on me. It's just
she's very good at doing it. She's very skilled at making a very high fidelity version of that voice.
Yeah.
A few other items here. So Disney will not be premiering She-Hulk on Wednesdays, after all. Instead, it will come out on Thursdays. Disney plans to debut Growing Up and Epic Adventures with Bertie Gregory on Thursday, September 8th, while the new Disney Plus exclusive season of Dancing with the Stars will air on Mondays starting September 19th.
Andrew, is moving from Wednesdays to Thursdays and I don't know, is that a credibility upgrade or downgrade, or how does that work?
I think they just looked at the numbers and thought that where were they going to get the most traction?
I don't know that we've talked about this personally. How into She-Hulk Attorney at Law are you?
I love the cast. The writing seems fun. The CGI is terrifying.
There's been a lot of hullabaloo about Marvel visual effects the past few weeks. I still haven't.
I don't care. There's been like, oh, is she too big? I don't care about big. I just like the lips don't match when I'm watching this. That's like I'm like this looks very.
Yeah. I also think that there's an element of, because this is pushing She-Hulk one day earlier in the week. I kind of have a feeling that at some point someone said, let's have all of our things come out on Fridays because that's when movies come out on Fridays. And then someone realized, well, everyone is working, or everyone is not working on the weekend, so we won't get any Hollywood press after the movie comes out for 2-3 days. So I think that's why you started to see some of these shows, especially big name tentpole Marvel shows, move from Fridays to Thursdays to Wednesdays, so that we get 2 more days.
Oh, no. This is the reverse. It's moving from Wednesday to Thursday.
Oh, wait. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ha-ha. Ace Attorney Brian Brushwood just got you.
You got me. Okay. Well, then I don't know why they did this. This is
to be honest, I feel like Thursday is a prestige spot. And now keep in mind, this comes from somebody who deeply, deeply loved the original comic book in the 1990s. So I just hope for the best from this. I'm hopeful. That's all I can give.
Well, Amazon's hopeful that this will work. Amazon is going to be the exclusive home of Thursday Night Football this year instead of simulcasting with a broadcast network. That's why they hired longtime football host and announcer Al Michaels to host the broadcast. Amazon will also now have the freedom to offer alternate commentaries. One alternate feed will be hosted by a sports comedy team called Dude Perfect. You ever heard of them? The group is known for their YouTube stunts like throwing a baseball through the open window of a moving car. Dude Perfect will broadcast from their studios in Frisco, Texas, while doing challenges and stunts during the game. There will also be a Spanish language stream as one of these alternate streams. Amazon's Thursday Night Football schedule begins September 15th. I think this is really strong to say, hey, if you like football, the new viewing habit is Thursday. It's on Amazon Prime. It's so strong being able to say day of the week is owned by Amazon.
Yeah, but I won't see it because I'll be watching She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. We're on Disney Plus.
Pilot episode written by Jessica Gao, writer of Pickle Rick.
Oh! So, the Dude Perfect thing, I really want to celebrate their success. This is big for them. I'll be very curious whether or not their very large, very enthusiastic fan base will be there for it, because part of the Dude Perfect formula, and I don't think I'm talking out of school here, appears to me to be try 100 times, show the 3 times you did it.
Right.
And so, but if you're gonna do live stunts, seems to me like with the, let's, in my imagination, and 97% whoopsie doodle rate or whatever, like I can't tell you any of their names. I can't tell you anything funny any of them have ever said.
Okay.
I do know they've put a lot of things very far away in a very precise place to my amusement.
Yeah. I have to imagine challenges and stunts will look a lot more like, when you go to a baseball game in between innings, sometimes the mascot characters come out and just run the bases. Someone's going to win and someone's going to lose, and that's really all it needs to be. Because you're right, trick shots they take a very long time to do. You got to get it, you got to nail it, and they do it a million times. But if it's just a 3-legged race between downs, that's really the bar for them.
There's a cottage industry of similar to the touring college market of halftime show folks who all they do is go around and do halftime shows. So if they're able to hit that bar or bring in those folks, then yeah, sure.
I'm curious. I think it's fine to experiment, to take the format, because watching stuff go from like YouTube and whatever to mainstream, Brian, you've seen that. Like, sometimes you say a thing works, sometimes it won't. And sometimes it can just be like, hey, we want to capture an audience that might like this, but I keep thinking about I'm a big fan, I'm not gonna lie, of like Mr. Beast. And I just got done watching his latest video, which was, he gave away an island. It's a 15-minute video complete with a pirate ship. It's 15 minutes.
Wow.
They built a friggin' pirate ship for a 3-minute bit on there. They built a Squid Game set on a barge because and that's the thing that Brian, you found with TV, the people, this is what TV needs to be. It's got to be this. And they're like, cool, I'm going to go online and I'm going to do what I think people really want to see and how it fits my own format. And you found greater success there than most shows do on television.
And as our mutual friend Justin Robert Young has said, the internet smells effort. And I have no doubt, like, Dude Perfect is among the all-star top 10, top 20 at most, when it comes to putting in effort for over-the-top attempts at crazy things.
Yeah. One last over-the-top piece of story. Days of Our Lives is moving from NBC to Peacock, the streaming service. The soap opera has been on the NBC daytime broadcast since 1965. Broadcast NBC will replace Days with NBC News Daily, which will also stream on NBC News Now and on Peacock. This will leave General Hospital, The Young and the Restless, and The Bold and the Beautiful as the last remaining broadcast soap operas. But Tom from the TARDIS has given us an interesting question, is what if the over-the-air channels, the ones that you can pick up, from the broadcasters or on, say, like a Leaf device, maybe those just simulcast whatever the free news stream that these broadcasters make, a la an NBC News Now, where they're going to run ads on it anyway, throw it on OTA, who cares? And then you get to repurpose these soap operas as, and now soap operas are on Peacock, soap operas are on Paramount Plus or wherever. How do you feel? How would y'all feel about that? Is that too exploitative? Is that too is that taking away something?
I'll let Andrew go first.
In theory, yeah, everything's fine there. As you break down production by production, you get into there's a different deal for streaming than there is for broadcast. Streaming, and so that's going to be like, we have the show, like, okay, well, if we want to do the broadcast version, put it over the air, then we got to pay X amount there, and it does make things complicated. But for things that have traction and audience, then I think that could happen. But I would say that it'll be handled on a show-by-show basis. And I can't see a network just saying, we're going to, because they might have the broadcast, they may have the streaming rights for a movie, but not the over-there broadcast rights for a movie.
I'll be curious. The whole reason they're called soap operas is because they occupied the space that was not very popular, but had a literally captive audience in the form of housewives and mothers who were, doing the laundry and needed something on the TV. And that's, they literally advertise soap. That's why they're called soaps and so on. It occurs to me that there's a lot of other captive audiences who are not overly concerned with the details, but more like, more story, go, 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 go. So in many ways, it seems like podcasts have superseded a lot of that soap opera market on the low end. On the high end, it seems like, of all things, pro wrestling has superseded soap opera.
Or reality TV, docudramas, any number of, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. So it makes me wonder, like, what if, we'll see what happens, but these are good brands. And what if General Hospital became a 90-minute daily podcast or something? Or what if...
there's a lot of new... It's been on the air since 1965, and it's still on the... Well, now it's not on the air, but, I mean, it's been TV for a long time. I'm sure these stories can find some other place. Well, speaking of stories, it's time for Eyes On, what you've been watching lately, and maybe something that you've had your eyes on. Andrew, we'll start with you. What's something that you've been watching lately?
I've been vocal, not here, but elsewhere on other shows that I appear on, such as Weird Things, about... There was a lot that I loved. Like, I'm a big fan of Michael Crichton, and I love the original movie Westworld. And then when they made the HBO version, there's a lot I liked about the show. Then there's a lot that, in trying to do things episode by episode, one episode every week or whatever, you start thinking about some theories, and then you go down some other direction, and it can be hard to sort of appreciate where they were trying to go. And I was probably a bit more critical of the show. I was more critical of Westworld. And I started to watch season 4, and then I was like 2 episodes in, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back and watch the show from the beginning. Now that I have a clear idea of what the show is and not about, like, it's not, if there is some other thing going on in the outer world, it's not being addressed in the early seasons. etc. And so I went through and I watched season 1, and then I just finished season 2 last night. I started on season 3, just watching them again. And I have to say, I appreciate the show much more now, much more. And because I once I sort of got onto this is the level they want to do it. I think they're doing that level really well. I really began to appreciate it more.
This is one of the theories. Like Westworld was the show that caused us to construct the theory that just binging any show gives it a leg up over anything else in terms of your experience of quality or whatever. And I strongly suspect that from the beginning, the intention was, hey, if you're going to absolutely commit to 7 seasons or whatever, we're going to deliver a 300-hour movie that will be amazing.
I don't think that.
Really?
No. I mean, and again, I'm only my theory, and I don't mean to be combative, like wrong, Brian.
No. I want to be challenged on this because
season 1 and 2 feel very cohesive. Watching them back to back, season 1 and 2 feel very cohesive. There are some changes in the world building. I can point out things like this was different in season 1. Now they've added this because they know that they needed this thing here to get to here. And then season 3 was this big departure. Like season 3 was like, it felt like that was, and I still feel that like, yeah, like you watch the opening of season 3, like, well, what was really about, or what we're going to do here and we're going to do here. I felt like season 1 and 2 felt cohesive. Season 3, not so much for me.
Interesting. I would like to go back because I'm enjoying Westworld season 4 right now. And I'd like to go back through season 1 and season, all the previous seasons, just to see. Because, I have fun watching Westworld episodes a second time now. I feel like that would be it.
I want a prequel series of the early days of building the park.
Oh no, my just gosh. Yeah, no, which
you could just do a
spoiler alert. Anyone who has seen season 1 can imagine why that would make sense and who would play various characters and so on. What about you, Bryce? What are you watching?
Over the weekend, I rewatched Blade Runner 2049. It was on Netflix. I just threw it on, and boy, is that a good movie.
So when I watched it, I loved it, and I didn't know whether or not I loved it because I loved the original or because it was just a good standalone movie.
I had a short conversation with someone over the weekend about that, and they made the argument that you don't really need all of the things that connect that movie to the first one. All of those characters could just be literally anybody else, and it would be the same story, which I think is valid. Andrew, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I am. You cut me and I bleed Blade Runner. I am such a hardcore Blade Runner fan. Like I've watched every version, read everything I can on it. I just growing up obsessed with it. The Sid Mead style of illustrations and stuff, all of this stuff I just love. But yes, to your point, Blade Runner 2049 is best when it's its own movie. Kay is a really interesting character, and I love Harrison Ford. I'd like to have seen the Harrison Ford sequel that was his story, but I get Kay's story and Kay's journey, and then Harrison Ford shows up, and I'm like, man, I don't need that here. You know, I want Harrison Ford and Edward James Olmos in their own movie, which I would love, because the idea that they became this, like, why did, we got along. Why? Because we both like to be alone. It was like these little, just wonderful little moments. But I'm like, man, when those worlds collide, I'm like, no, I want the K story.
Yeah. Brian, what about you? Is it something you had your eyes on?
Dude, I don't know why this got into me, but I did the trick of luring my 9-year-old daughter, Calliope, into the room saying, hey, I think you'll like this. And I started playing Richard Linklater's and Jack Black's School of Rock. My goodness, does that movie hold up? Oh, totally. It is Callie's generation's Bad News Bears. It's kids her age being naughty, just sneaking out of school to go be rock stars. It deconstructs the rock star ethos into basically a video game. It's Rock Band made live. Also, it's hard for me to remember a time when Jack Black was not an international superstar, but this is the movie that introduced him and his Tenacious D energy to the world. It holds up so good.
It's a great movie. I've seen it a couple of times. It's a classic. Andrew, have you seen School of Rock?
It's no Heat, Vision, and Jack. It's Jack Black's one of those people. It's funny because you look at his IMDb. He has been there forever. Just, like one of those videos of like you see somebody walk using camouflage pop out and you're like, wow, they were there all the whole time. Yes, Jack Black has been in front of us the whole time. And then we realize what a talent he was.
Jack Black was in the 1982 TV commercial for the Activision video game on the Atari, Pitfall. It opens with him as a child describing his adventures running around the jungle as Pitfall Harry. He has been there all the time.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So, I love it. It's great. It's one of my favorite lines about, touching. I'll leave it there.
Oh my gosh. When he's doing Parents' Night and he tries to get through it by talking about how, all the children have touched him and he really feels like he's touched the children.
I know your children have touched me and I'd like to think I've touched your children.
Oh my God. My 9-year-old daughter just was cackling the entire time. Oh my God, did she love it? Anyway, Bryce, what are we on the lookout for?
We got a short one for you. You've probably heard a lot about it, but on the lookout is the new feature film Prey, directed by our friend Dan Trachtenberg. Spoiler alert. This movie is awesome. We're going to talk about it in Spoilerin time, and all I am going to do is gush about how great this movie is. So just letting you know, it is streaming now on Hulu. It is a feature-length film. It is really, really good. It is a prequel to Predator. It certainly takes place early, but
there is a predator in the movie.
There's a predator, and
but I don't even know that's the best part of the movie.
It's not.
It's just a good movie that happens to have a predator in it.
The star Amber Midthunder, I don't know if you watched Legion, but she was in that. She was great in that. So it's just neat to see her.
Who was she in Legion?
Remember the twin? Remember she was the
got it. Okay. Yeah.
And I believe, well, in any case, it is a fantastic film. We'll talk about it more in Spoilerin time, so check out that. But that's streaming now on Hulu. If you've got something we should be on the lookout for, email it to us at cordkillers@gmail.com. Now, Brian.
Yeah, dude. Important update. Way more important. I don't know what Tom's doing over in Gallifrey. I do know this much. I do know that our friends over at Doghouse Systems provided us with all the hardware that makes this show possible.
That's right.
And even better, I know that right now, if you go to gimme.scamstuff.com, you can sign up because we are giving away a $4,000+ gaming PC that I myself helped build and signed. It is the biggest. This giveaway is so big, we, for the first time ever, have attracted scammers who are trying to deceive our audience. Sign up. We're going to give it away probably mid-August. But oh my goodness, this is a big one. This is a big deal.
How much are you selling this for?
No, this is a giveaway.
How much are you selling this?
Zero.
Right, I hear you, but how much is it really you're selling this for?
Well, the scammers will claim that they need money for shipping, but we're not going to do that. We're actually going to pay out of pocket for the shipping.
Oh.
So if anybody
it's not going to be like $5,000 in shipping?
No, it's zero.
Because that's how they get you. The free giveaway, but it costs $5,000 to ship.
Sign up at gimme.scamstuff.com. That's all that matters.
There we go. All right, well, let's find out the front lines. Is the name of the segment.
Front lines.
Smooth, man. It's like Tom's here.
It's like he hasn't gone anywhere. Sling TV lost 55,000 subscribers in quarter two. That's a smaller drop than the 234,000 that it lost in quarter one, but this is the third straight quarter of declines. Sling now has a total of 2.197 million subscribers. Sling sits behind YouTube TV's 5 million and Hulu Live TV's 4.3 million. We were talking about the 20 million, 90 million with the Warner stuff. Sling is roughing it with less than 2.2.
They're bleeding out, and Sling's potency in the number one, they were a first mover, which was good. Number two, they got a lot of sports licenses. They were a way to get ESPN over the top.
Yeah.
But now there's so many other ways, and you could just kind of move that into your already existing Hulu or YouTube account or whatever.
Yeah.
Andrew, what's your outlook?
I'm sorry, I was going to gimmescamstuff.com to sign up to get a gaming PC.
You know what? That was that was a test and you passed. Because meanwhile, the Roku channel continues to add options for you to subscribe to add-ons. The latest is Paramount Plus. You can subscribe to the Paramount Plus ad-supported tier for $4.99 or ad-free at $9.99. The Roku channel offers over 50 add-ons and recently struck a deal to include some local NBC news streams. I had a moment where Bonnie's parents, who have Callie with them for an overnight, they asked us, just pick a movie that we know that she'll want to share with us. Oh. And I went to justwatch.com and I looked at all of the various places, and I was like, I know they have a Roku. And so I said, Roku channel, ad supported, very simple. I think they're crushing it.
Yeah. And this add-on thing is it's going to happen more. I mean, I am assuming that that's what this Warner Brother Discovery thing is going to be. It will be one thing and the plug-in modules of tiers. I don't know. Fox reached an agreement for carriage for many of its channels on Verizon's Fios TV service, including Tubi, which is a free ad-supported tier. Tubi will be available on Verizon's Fios TV set-top boxes. I think this is not super big for Fios, but I think this is big for Tubi. I think free is so big to so many people that now you can say, oh, the Tubi thing you watch. Hey, that's on the downstairs TV. We get that on the Verizon box. You want to watch Tubi together? And so we're starting to see the next steps of this habit of getting people into the Tubi brand, I feel like.
That, and not only that, but the universal acceptance among cable providers of inviting those over-the-top services, I think this is a win for that. AMC Networks announced that its streaming subscribers rose 46% last quarter to reach 10.8 million. The company said that it's on track to reach its goal of 20 million to 25 million streaming subscribers by 2025. Revenue also went up 20%. AMC, they run AMC Plus, Acorn TV, Shudder, Sundance Now, ALL, BLK, and I don't know how to say any of these, Bryce.
Yeah, All Black and High Dive.
I shouldn't have taken this one.
These numbers will have to go down when Better Call Saul is done in a few weeks, right? I mean, I don't know what else is on AMC TV or Acorn TV or I guess Shudder I've heard of. Saul, in my mind, is buoying that 10.8 number.
Two thoughts. One, Shudder are folks who have nowhere else to go.
For horror movies.
If you love horror and just give me the scaries, then there's nowhere else but Shudder. AMC, I will never bet against them. They know how to surprise. They somehow took the most unmakeable into a long-running franchise television show, The Walking Dead, and pulled it off. It's like I personally am not worried about when Saul ends.
Andrew, is AMC going to go up or down when Saul ends?
I think they're going to plan for something else to come in place. I mean, look at The Walking Dead franchise came out of nowhere, and that's one of the biggest franchises in the world. And then you look at Paramount Plus, Finding Taylor Sheridan. I think we're going to enter the age of sort of the super producer kind of thing. So I think it may go up because they'll buy some of the content.
I think I quit AMC for like 20 minutes, and then Ash versus Evil Dead came out or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Look.
Wait, and I thought that was Stars or Showtime. Anyway,
you're probably right. All I know is it was done bundled through Amazon because they make it real easy to say you can pay money or you can not pay money and watch it right now. Psych, you're paying money.
Oops. Some final notes here. FX will launch the 4th and final season of Atlanta on September 15th with 2 of the 10-episode season premiering at once. HBO will release the 2nd season of The White Lotus in October. Looking forward to that. When a fan on Twitter asked James Gunn if Peacemaker Season 2 was safe from the HBO Max axe, Gunn replied, "Yes, guys, calm down." Paramount Plus released a trailer.
Calm down, John Cena.
When you can't see his face for how panicked it is. Paramount Plus released a trailer for the final season of The Good Fight coming September 8th. It was the first original series for CBS All Access. Mohamed Diab posted a TikTok video of himself and Jason Isaac in Egypt, implying that there is a season 2 of Moon Knight being shot. I would watch Moon Shoot. And finally, Outlander will have a prequel series on Starz about Jamie's parents called Outlander, Blood of My Blood.
Can I confess something weird?
My blood has no blood.
We've talked about it. We all collectively did not love Moon Knight, but I think I really
I haven't finished it, so I'm not entitled to an opinion.
But now that it's over and it's in the past, I think I would really like to go back and try again. Like maybe there's a good story in there.
Maybe we don't need I would be cool with a Marvel story that is not an origin story, please.
Also, isn't his name Oscar Isaac?
What did I say?
What is written?
Oh, Jason Isaac can't possibly be correct. It's got to be Oscar Isaac.
Well,
Okay.
look, he's out fighting Daleks right now.
Filing the permits to fight the Daleks.
He's in the middle of helping to rebuild a Cyberman to take on Margaret Thatcher.
Yes, well, let's see if Margaret Thatcher wrote us any letters and dispatches from the front.
Okay.
See, I can do segues like Tom, too.
That's good. I don't even know why he's on the show.
We've got a letter here from Michael from Texas who writes, I have a long kind of wished for TV to be like an RSS feed. Subscribe to the shows you want and they all get collated into a single place or feed. I know Apple TV, you can kind of do something like this, but all of the apps don't expose the deep linking and allow for that to happen. Netflix is a very common one. So it's easy to forget things. The one bill conundrum is something I prefer not to have. I have occasionally run into a situation where my one bill on, and I can't read the name of the website that is, and it certainly doesn't say Patreon, has concealed that, whoops, I didn't unsubscribe from that thing that I thought I unsubscribed from months ago. Yikes! So I prefer seeing the individual fees show up on my credit card for Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, HBO Max, YouTube Premium, and I pay that one bill. But that's just me, Michael from Texas. I feel the same way, Mike.
Amazon is very, very good about this. They make it very easy for you to see what am I subscribed to, uncheck, etc. Right?
Does it show up as on your transactions though? Does it all just say Amazon Prime Video, or do you get Sundance and the Stars as separate line items? Because Apple does that. Apple's always it just says Apple, Apple.com, and I hate it because I wish I knew what it was charging me for. To my theory, Amazon already, like if you go to the tab, it's easy to unsubscribe and uncheck things. I suspect that Apple is really interested in building a reputation of putting the customer first. I mean, so much to the point that they destroyed Facebook. Meta is having trouble specifically because Apple just said, hey, we're going to add a feature. It's just going to ask everyone, hey, do you want them to track everything? And you're going to say yes or no. And among other reasons, yes.
Correct. But my point is if that has worked well for Apple, then Apple TV Plus, I think, might be very interested in just once a month saying, hey, reminder, these are the things you're paying for.
I mean, because you can.
Well, but then
you can already subscribe for channel packages and content packages through Apple TV. So there is that. I mean, you're right. Apple has a similar thing to Amazon for those smaller streamers.
Well, yes, and now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm remembering the year and a half that I continued to pay for 2 HBO accounts.
Yeah.
So whatever they have right now is not very good. But I would like to think that they would make moves to make it as easy as it is on Amazon to unsubscribe to things.
All right. Well, do you want to take this letter from Amar?
Amar wrote in, this is a subject we haven't talked about in a bit, basically about just being overwhelmed by choice and...
Choice in too many things to watch?
Yeah, correct. As a matter of fact, that's literally the problem that Bonnie's parents had last night when they took Callie, is they said, recommend one movie that we can say yes, no on. And Amar writes in saying, I had an idea of something that could fix this, make it work like TikTok. Basically, it goes on to explain how TikTok works. And it's something we haven't talked about in a minute, but has TikTok made us more comfortable with the idea of our devices watching us as we watch our devices? Because I would have been severely against that 7 years ago, but now I might be on board if it would spare me the agony of having to figure out what to watch.
I guess that presupposes that we already know that they do that and we already accept that with TikTok, where I wouldn't say that the reason I like my TikTok feed is because it looks at me through my front-facing camera. I think it's good that it knows what I do on the app and what types of things I respond to.
I believe it's known, and Andrew probably knows more about this than I do. I believe it's at the very least timing how long you pay attention to a thing before you're nexting and so on.
But that's not. But I guess my question is: are we talking about a camera that's looking at me, or are we talking about looking at my data when I touch the device? Because I'm down for give me a curated feed, look at what I like the best, and I'll swipe and control it. But I'm not going to put cameras in my house for them to do that.
But okay, so,
particularly a company controlled by the CCP.
There are international politics involved too. Yeah.
It's an open-ended question, but let's say, for example, it's some company that you do trust, right? And you know for a fact that you will receive statistically, let's say 30% greater satisfaction if you enable a webcam watching your eye dilation and movements and all that stuff. I mean, if that's the proposition, then yes, because that transaction makes sense. But that assumes that a company I would trust would want to do this type of program, that they would bother to figure out how to do it with webcams versus looking at what you watch, what you click on, what you stop and pause on. You know, to me, it's existential like that. Well, and I have no doubt that it would give me more of what I want. But would it
actually, though? That's my question. Is that going to make your content better? Are you going to get better recommendation because it saw, your eyes dilated a little less there?
Well, it's the Reddit question that I always have, where it's like, do I want Reddit to give me a curated feed? Do I want Google News to give me a curated feed? Because
you're making the argument here that you do. Want that.
But I'm terrified of becoming bubbled, of becoming trapped in my own echo chamber. Andrew, is this something you worry about, or?
I've already, I'm not on Facebook. It's like, and TikTok, I open up that first time, I'm like, wow, I get why this is addictive and I don't want this. And so I'm not a part of it. So I've already decided that, I'm going to be, some weirdo sitting on an island here going, what's that party over there? But,
what do you think, Brian? I mean, would you like your phone to look at your eyes while you're watching TikTok? If let's say we agreed that it did make the algorithm better, quicker for you, would you let it look at your face? Would you let it respond to your reactions?
I suppose, phrased differently, the question is, would you like your phone to show you who you really are? And I think my answer is no. And maybe this is because I'm a content creator. I'm more concerned about pleasing other people and willing to give up actually enjoying things. As anybody will testify who's listened to this show. I don't know. It's...
Hey, why don't you email us your answer, viewer or listener?
Cordkillers@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Let us know. I have a weird relationship with that. I don't know.
Well, you know who we don't have a real weird relationship with is our guest, Andrew Mayne. Thank you so much for joining us, Andrew.
Yeah,
Tell
dude,
people where they can find more of
We
your
were really worried that it would be a weird relationship and that...
Nothing
anyway.
weird about this at all.
No, this is all. Tell people where they can find more about all the stuff you're up to.
So andrewmayne.com, and my Twitter account is @AndrewMayne, Mayne.
Love it. Go follow him. Andrew's always posting great stuff about being a writer, doing AI stuff, coding, all sorts of great stuff.
Oh, just say follow me. Tell me you followed me. I'll follow you back.
Ooh, nice.
Follow for follow.
In the meantime, while he's off fighting in a distant time and space, a long way, I'm not jealous. You're jealous. It doesn't matter. Tom Merritt's going to be back next week. Thank you so much, Bryce Castillo,
That's right.
for
Thank you,
doing
Brian
your
Brushwood.
very best impression of Tom.
Well, I needed about 8 hats. That would have really solved it. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We're live on twitch.tv/nightattack, which is carried on diamondclub.tv Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll kill your cords next time.
Got him. Hey, Tom Merritt, what's going
Yes.
on?
I'm just hanging out here watching this scroll go by. What are you doing?
Trying to set up a bit where we thank our beautiful, beautiful patrons, all these
I'm
wonderful
sorry,
names.
I'm too distracted looking at these beautiful, beautiful patron names going by. Look at that one. I mean, if you wanted to be one of these people, patreon.com/cordkillers would be the place to go.
I mean, they're scratching our itch, like, because we're
I think
addicted.
as long as it's consensual, like, fine.
We're addicted to their money.
And love. Might as well face it.
Well, God damn it.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.